and welcome to my channel. This is one of my first videos uh, in which I would be creating an Android application, uh, a game like Android application in which there would be a number and we will guess if it is a multiple of 3 or not. So let's get started. So let's name it as is it 3. Okay, so now that it is all set up, so let's get started with the UI. So for the UI, we will first create a number allocation to display the number to guess if it is a multiple of 3 or not. So uh, so we have a text view where we would be updating the number, and we will now create a few buttons which the player will be able to press and select if it is a number, it is a multiple of 3 or not. So let's give it a text of yes, and let's create another button with text no. So now we have two buttons. Let's add their constraints. Okay, now we have the buttons and we will be placing these below or below the number to be guessed, and that would be here. So yes, and now let's place a text view which would work as the question to ask the user if it is a multiple of 3 or not. So let's say the text is the number a multiple of 3. So we got the text. Let's place it between the buttons and the number. So we have it here. We can also place this I think we should make it a bit above the location. So let's move the bottom and give a margin top of 100 dp or I think 150 dp. Yes, that looks good. Okay, now we will get started with the code. So we have two buttons and so we got two buttons, yes and no, and we have a text view which will have the number to be guessed. So now we can get started with it. Let's have this text view and the buttons. We will get the uh, views over here using find view by id. So first let's get number equal to find view by id r dot id dot number. So we got the number. Now we can update it whenever we want. Now we will get the buttons. So we have the views. So now we will generate a random number that could be or a multiple of three. So we will generate it over here. So that would be number is equal to math dot random. It will provide us a value of between 0 and 1. So we will multiply it with 100. So now it would be something between 0 and 100. And let's cast it into int. Okay, and now we will update the text view. String dot value of number. So now it would be updating the text view when the activity is being created. And let's have it as a function. So now whenever we want to generate again, so we can just use generate number and we would have the numbers. So we can just replace it with generate number and now be create it would be generating a random integer between 0 and 100 and would set it as the text of the text view. So let's check if it is setting it correctly. Okay, so our number is generated. For this time it is 7. Now we will create to click listener, which we would be setting on button yes and button no. So it would be like btn yes dot set on click listener, and we will be creating a anonymous object. So here in the on click we will check if the number is a multiple of 3 or not. That we can do by doing percent remainder of 3. If it is a 0, so it would be a multiple of 3, otherwise it won't be a multiple of 3. So let's place it in a if condition. If it is a multiple of 3, we will create a toast and display number as is not a multiple, oh, is a m- multiple of 3. And for the else, we will just update it is not a multiple of 3. Okay, now we have set the on click listener for the yes button. Now we will set it for the no, and for the no button we will just reverse the condition. So here I have updated it is 2 is not equal. Before it was an equal operator, so that was checking if the remainder is 0 or not. And for the no, it would check if the remainder is not 0. If it is not 0, then it would show uh, then it should show it is not a multiple of 3, otherwise it should show is a multiple of 3. And or I think it would be better we say correct or incorrect. I think this would be better rather than displaying all that text. So after it, we will generate another number. So let's see now what happens when we press. Okay, 19 shouldn't be a multiple of 3. It's not a multiple of 3, so we say no. And it says correct. For 94, if we press yes, it will say incorrect. For 81, it is a multiple of 3. We will say yes, and it is correct. For 29, if we say yes, it is incorrect. For 34, as 34 is not a multiple of 3, we will press no, and it is correct. So that's the working of the application. We can now make some changes to the UI to make it look a bit better. So first of all, let's change the text size to something like 15 points or 18 points, I think. Yes, let's see how it would look. Yes, now it looks good. It is much better than before. So if we press, overall working is same. Now we can just add background color, something like hmm, let's see what it looks like now. So our application is complete. We can do multiple customizations, like we can add lives to it. So if the number of lives or becomes zero, then the user will be displayed with a message that you have lost all your lives, so press to restart or start another game. So before that, I think we can also change it to we will say start. When user clicks on start, then the number will be generated for the first time. Before that, these both of these listeners shouldn't work. So let's add it as -1. We have set a default value for number, and if the number is equal to its default value, it should return, so as to avoid any error. Okay, now we will remove this and we will add TV number is equal to a dot set on click listener, and we will set an on click listener. Over here we will be generating a number if number equals -1, the default value of number. Otherwise, the player would be able to generate number by tapping on the already generated number. So it should only generate number once. Okay, now I have clicked, so we have got the number. Now whenever I click, I won't get another number. So that's how we would be adding a check. Okay, now to continue, we will be adding lives. So let's add another text view to display the current number of lives. Text lives colon 3. In the start, there will be 3 lives or 3 tries, and after that, after all those are expanded, the user would have to start again. The player would have to start again. So for the lives, okay, we have got the lives. Let's make it a bit larger. Text size 15 points. And that's a bit too big. 15 or maybe 10. Okay, it looks better. We will change the text color of the start to, let's say, black, to make it different from the others. And let's change the text size of the question we are putting over here. And let's remove this color. It looks much better now. Okay. If I press no or yes, because I haven't started the game, so these buttons are not working. So to let these buttons to start working, I would have to click on start. So now I have clicked on start. Now when I press on yes or no, it should work. So it is working correctly. Okay, but now when I am incorrect, I am not losing any lives. So we will update that. For that, let's give it an ID text view underscore lives. Okay, and let's get it here as well. We have got the text view for lives, and let's have an integer lives equals 3. And let's add another check or lives equals 0. So when the lives are 0 or the number is -1, the buttons shouldn't work. Okay, and let's add it over here as well. Or lives is equals 0. If like lives equals 0, then we should be able to generate a number, because we would be starting over. So we would generate a number and we would be resetting the lives. So lives would be 3 again. And whenever user makes a mistake, we will update text view lives dot set text, and it would be lives colon lives. And over here lives minus minus. So we would decrement the lives and update the text view. Okay, just one more thing to be done, that is to get the text view from the UI. So now we have the text view, and let's get started. Okay, we have 3 lives. Let's start, and we have 81. Since it is a multiple of 3, and we have 3 lives. If I press no, the lives should decrement. So now I am pressing no, and I have 2 lives, and number is changed as well. So for 29, if let me press again, and it says correct. And for 18, since it is a multiple of 3, for 93, it is a multiple of 3. So let's go with no, and we have 0 lives. Now these buttons shouldn't work. But if I click over here on the number, it should reset the lives and generate another number. So I am pressing it over here and it has updated the number and these are working, but the lives haven't been updated because I didn't set the text for lives dot set text, and here it would be lives colon plus lives. So now let's start and check if the lives are working. So start, yes, 6 now, and for 58 let's try with yes, and now we have 0 lives. So this shouldn't work. Nothing over here, nothing here. I am pressing over here and lives have been reset. So let's change this text when lives become 0. We should change it to start. So we will be changing it over here. So we will set if lives equals 0, then we will set start, otherwise it would be lives. So I will add it to both texts. Okay, so for let's start again. 41, yes. 46, yes. 96, no. So 3 incorrect. Oh, we set the lives instead of setting the TV underscore number. So we will have to change this. So we will add an if statement if lives equals 0. So we will be updating the TV underscore number to start start, and let's add this same over here as well, and let's check it out. So we are starting 38, yes. 62, yes. And 28, yes. O- oh, okay. So they stopped working. Okay, something went wrong. But what? Let's see. So it is not being updated. Okay, we are generating a number after it has been updated. So we will need to move it out of here and place it below the generate number. So for no as well, we will place it below the generate number. So it won't be generating any number, or we can just place it in else so as to even avoid generating the number over here as well, else, and place the generate number. Okay, so if we check it out now, okay, lives are at 0. Here is the start and the button stopped working. So now we press start, we got the lives, the number, and the buttons are working again. And that's all. I will be placing this code on GitHub, and I will be updating the UI in future in the next few tutorials. See you soon.